All right. So this is Intro to Criminal Justice. If that's not the class you thought you were going to, then you need to find one of the other rooms. But since everybody, I think, said something on the roll, so I didn't think I have anybody that's not supposed to be. Intro to Criminal Justice is a kind of a broad course that is supposed to, as the name implies, introduce you to the idea or the field of study. So we are going to cover a lot of different things. Many of the things that we cover, we offer classes for just that. So we cover, for example, criminal law. That's a class, in and of itself. We cover corrections. That's a class by itself. We cover policing. That's a class by itself. So we're not going to get really super in depth on any particular thing in this class. It's more of a kind of a broad survey type of course. That being said, it's also a very complex subject because we have rules and things that we expect people to follow, and we enforce the rules, and it can be, it has to be done a certain way in order for us to maintain public support and different things like that. So we'll be talking about a lot of different things. There's really, some of the things we talk about may be controversial. You may have strong opinions about it. That's fine. The whole thing that I'd like to get going in this class is some discussion about the issues. And I can give you my perspective, having worked in the field, and you can give me your perspective, what you've experienced and things in the past, and we can, talk about it. So I skipped the introduction. My name is Charlie Papert. I am actually from Marshall originally. I have worked in Sedalia, Pettis County Sheriff's Office, Jefferson City. I worked for Missouri Capitol Police and Cole County Sheriff's Office there. I kind of semi-retired, I guess you want to say, in 2018 to come here and teach because I really enjoy teaching. They even let me teach a defensive tactics class here in the fall. And so that's what I've been doing for the last few years. My wife is a Sedalia police officer, and we live in Sedalia. I have 3 kids, and that's about it. So in this class, we're going to, like I said, the book for this class is, I want to say like 15 chapters or something like that, and we will hit just about all of them. But like I said, it's pretty broad based. So how many of you guys are actual freshmen? Like this is your first semester of college, right? It's always most of the class, yeah. So I am going to kind of go over, if you don't know already, kind of Brightspace and kind of what it is and what you can do with it, and kind of what I have set up for this class here. And if you've already been in there and already know, then sorry. But basically, if you've never gone there before, if you just type in like on a Google search like Mo Valley and you find our Missouri Valley College or whatever, and you find Taking forever to load. There's a link here to it. Once you get there, it'll have all your classes there. And you click on the Intro to Criminal Justice one. And basically on this page, you have kind of these little links and pages. It can be like we switched from a different learning management thing to this a couple of years ago, and it kind of until you get to knowing how to find things, it can be hard to find things. So up at the top here, they have these little shortcuts, and if you go into content, it kind of gives you a table, you know, or a thing here on the left, and you can kind of use that as a shortcut to get where you need to go if you get like on a page and don't know how to get it back off of it. Important information. There's a syllabus linked there. You can access that anytime. I also put a link to my Google Calendar that has my office hours, or there's one must call them student hours now. Basically time outside of class that if you need to talk or you know, figure something out, you can stop by. You don't have to schedule a time. You can just pop in because I'll be there. Anytime outside of those office hours, you know, we can schedule whatever. I put a link to the final exam schedule because towards the end of the semester, people want to know when they can book their flights and stuff like that. So that's not just for this class. That would be all of your classes. You can figure that out. The course materials thing has a link. Has anybody already bought a book from the bookstore? I tell people every semester that there is a better thing, unless you rely on your student aid paying for your books, in which case you have to go through the bookstore. This gettextbooks.com is it basically searches all of the book websites or whatever, and it can usually save you about 30 to 40% off of what the bookstore is asking for new books, like, you know, or whatever it is you're trying to shop for. So like if I pop this up, sometimes it takes a while to load, though. That's the downside. I don't care if you do a digital book or whatever. You don't have to have it in class. Some people like, you know, having it in class, but the only the midterm and the final that we're taking in class, you won't be able to use a book on anyway. And the online tests, you know, you can use a book on, and it doesn't matter if it's digital or not. It's not in class. So I think the bookstore is wanting like $200 for it, and there you can get it for 170, or you can what the hell happened to digital? Digital used to be the same price as you. Okay, well, it sucks that that's not an option. But you can get it used for $50. Anyway, as far as the book goes, I'm not a book salesman. I don't get a commission. If you don't want to buy the book, then don't buy the book. The only thing I'll say is having it does give you an advantage. What?
So
Huh?
a girl from the office told me that like for this class,
Mhm.
the teacher provided this, but
Mhm.
not true.
Mhm.
Oh,
No, the only class that I have that where we provide the book is the defensive tactics class. And that's just because, yes, and yes, yeah, that's it. Like I said, if you have the book, it gives you an advantage because when you take those online tests or whatever, you can have it right there open in front of you, and all the questions come from the test bank from that textbook, you know, place. So it gives you an advantage to have the book. That being said, if you don't have the book, it is a disadvantage, but it's not like something that's insurmountable. If you take good notes in class and you know, pay attention and things like that, it's possible for you to pass the class without a book. So, you know, the first couple of semesters, you know, I kind of beat them over the head with it, like, you need the book, dang it, you know, you know, really, you know, it's college, you're adults. Do with your money what you think is best. And so we'll kind of move on from there. But that is the book that I teach from. That is the book that the tests are based on and things like that. And this is, like I said, I don't know what happened to the digital option because the digital option used to be cheaper than everything else, like $45. Now it's like that. So that's weird. But if you go on here, oh crap, I hate that. Student books, not faculty. Because it's like 170 on the other site. Through here, 216. So it's quite a bit cheaper. Oh, I guess that's not as bad. That's actually better. That's new. All right. Well, maybe the bookstore is the cheapest. I guess it pays to check. I don't see a digital option here at all. So I don't know what that's about. All right. Well. Okay. So anyway, this stuff will be here all semester anytime that you want to. You can download the syllabus, save a copy of it. I actually send an email out, I think, over the summer telling students that that's actually what they recommend that you do, because if you end up transferring somewhere else for, you know, them, you know, and you want them to count this as the equivalent of what they teach, you know, a lot of times they'll ask for a syllabus and it can be a pain in the butt to try to get it later. Anyway, I don't read the syllabus to people because, well, you know, it would be boring, but I do have to kind of hit the highlights of it. You know, the expectations, because different teachers kind of have different rules and things. The big thing here is the expectation is that you will be in class. Just like your expectation is that I'll be here to teach the class. If either of us can't meet our commitment, it's not the end of the world, but we need to communicate about it. So if I'm going to be absent, I will email you. Email is the primary way that I communicate with you guys. I have the ability to email the whole class, like by typing in like the class number and stuff in the email, and I can send that to you relatively quickly. I do have 3 small children there, and 2 of them are in school, 1 of them is in daycare, and so if they're sick, I can't send them. So it may be that like at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, I send you an email saying, hey, sorry, I have to, I can't be, you know, in class. What I'll do if I can't be in class, I can't be in class to teach it, is that I will do like a Zoom thing. You can get on the, you can download an app on your phone. That's what I was trying to say. Trying to think of, and live stream it. Or if for those of you that for whatever reason can't get on during the class time, I can also post it on Brightspace. I'll create a folder here. Like you see, I have the one from last semester still there. You guys won't be able to see that, but I'll make another one for this semester. And so any of the class recordings will be on there. So my intention and my goal is that I'm going to have a class recording, you know, every time. That way, if you have to be absent, there is something for you to see. I do not take online attendance. So if you live stream online, it's because, you know, you want to be, you know, not falling behind or whatever, you know, and that's the purpose of me posting it, is also, you know, for that. I have to kind of stress that every semester since COVID hit, because, online is not a substitute for in class. It's better than nothing, but it's not the same. And so, as far as attendance goes, you're either in class or you're not. And if you're not, depends on if it's a good excuse or not, So email me if you're going to be absent. And like I said, I'll have the class recording posted. That's probably the best thing that you can do, is watch it at some point. But at the same time, you could also review the chapter, because I'll also tell you what we cover or whatever. So it's whatever works for you, as far as, trying not to fall behind if you have to be absent. I realize, how many of you are athletes? Oh God, like everyone. Is anybody not an athlete? You don't have to raise your hand. But okay, so you got like games and stuff like that sometimes pull you out of class. Just email me and let me know. Don't assume that I know when the baseball team is traveling or whatever, because I don't. There's like 15 different sports teams here, and I just don't know. So just email me and let me know. I'll email you back and let you know what you missed, and remind you that the recording is on there. I will get on here. I thought I already had it, but I will actually get on here and put a link to the Zoom meeting. I have kind of it's the same link. It's it doesn't change with every class, but so that if you want to get on the Zoom meeting, you can. I don't force everybody, as far as like taking attendance and stuff for it, mainly just because it can be kind of glitchy, trying to live stream it. If your connection isn't great, or my connection isn't great, then it wants to, cut out and stuff like that. So if you would rather watch the recording, that is perfectly fine. It just might take, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes after class before it shows up there, depends on when I have time to load it up. So yeah, so attendance is a thing. So if you can't be here, email me. If I can't be here, I'll email you. That is something that a lot of kids don't do, and it's not hard, and it, even if it's a bad excuse over and over again, I'd rather know than not know. Even if it doesn't count as an approved absence, I would rather be notified. We will have some writing assignments in this class. There will be a small research paper, and by small I mean like a page and a half. It's not really so much about the length as it is I need to introduce you to the idea of how we document sources and find good sources and different things like that in the class. And so, as much as I would like to save myself the headache of grading, well, usually this class is like 30. It's actually a pretty small class, but I kind of have to, because at the end of your degree, you have to take a capstone class and write a bigger paper, like a 10-page paper. So we're going to kind of get the ball rolling on that. How I do that is basically it kind of happens in a series of drafts, so we can kind of build it one step at a time, so that it's not as overwhelming for you and not as overwhelming for me to grade. Because when I made them turn it in all at once, the first semester that I taught, I got a bunch of train wrecks that took me forever to grade. So we will use turnitin.com. Has anybody used turnitin.com in high school or anything like that? Okay. If you haven't, how it works is you go to that website and you set up your own account. It's not like Brightspace where it's the same user login or anything like that, but you put in your email and stuff, and you make an account, and then you have to add the classes. Don't do it yet, because I have to change this. This is from last semester. You can notice the S22 means spring. So I will get that updated today. I forgot about doing that. But you'll be able to add the class, and I'll let you know I'll send out an email to the class whenever I have that updated. But you'll be able to add the class on turnitin.com, and from there you'll be able to see what these things are and turn them in. We will talk more about that on Friday. This is Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. We'll talk more about that on Friday. Throws me off starting on Tuesday. Anyway, that is one writing assignment. A different kind of writing assignment that we will have is report writing. If you're going to work in any facet of criminal justice, especially law enforcement, corrections, and juvenile justice, you will be basically writing reports about everything that you do all day long. And all that a report is just documenting either something you did, something you saw, or something, you know, that you witnessed. That's really it. And so, but it's not as intuitive as you think that it is, and it is one of the things that they see officers struggling with the most in their field training is, you know, getting the right information and all of the needed information into a report. It's easy to miss things. It's easy to not think about certain things. So there's kind of a certain way you have to think about it. What is required in a report for one thing may be not required in a report for another. So, and again, we'll talk more about that when I cover that section here pretty quick. But what I will do as far as the report writing exercises go is I will most likely just find some kind of an interesting video on YouTube or something like that, assign you to watch it, and then you'll write a report as if you're the officer participating in that, right? You know, so, you know, if it's the cop walks in and, you know, tases a guy or whatever, then you're gonna write the report saying, I arrived at this time and I tased a guy in the face or whatever, you know, whatever it is. So we're gonna kind of try to find our way through that. My goal or my thought, at least on the first couple of these reports, is that I'll have you guys just bring a paper copy of it to class, and we'll just kind of have a group editing session here, you know, where we'll talk about what's, you know, what I need in the report, and then you know, you can see whether or not you have it in your report, and you can make little notations and stuff. And then I'll take the paper copy of the reports and I'll give you individual feedback, and then we'll have a final due date for it, maybe a week or so after that. So so we'll do probably 2 or 3 of those. They don't have to be lengthy, you know, the reports. It's more about having the information that's required than it is how long it is. Some people have a gift for being concise and detailed, and other people don't. I'm one of the don'ts. My reports are always super long and probably err on the side of having too much information, to tell you the truth. But it really, like I said, it's something we'll talk about more detailed than that. We will have a midterm exam and a final exam in this class. Those are in person, you know, no books, notes, anything like that kind of tests. Probably similar to most of the classes that you've taken like high school and will take in college. I do have 4 online exams that are open book, open note, 2 of them in the first half, 2 of them in the second half. And the main objective of those is to get you thinking about and looking up the answers if you don't know them, that kind of thing. It's more like a study tool, you know, but it's also the way that people learn best is that you hear something, you know, like you get information, right, and you remember it for a short period of time, a few days maybe or whatever, and then it kind of goes into your, you know, it's like in your short-term memory. When you have to access it more than once, it tends to then kind of migrate its way better into your long-term memory. You kind of develop a neural pathway on where to find the information and that kind of stuff. And so My goal as a teacher is to make sure that you have recalled it 2 or 3 times, by the end of the semester, and that way it'll hopefully kind of stick in your mind a little bit. So we, of course, cover it in class. Hopefully you study a little bit before you take the exams, and you'll recall it again, and then you may see it as a test question on the exam, so you're recalling it again, and then we'll get to the midterm and you'll have to recall it yet again. So that's kind of the thought pattern behind what I'm doing. So the online exams, I'll let you know when the due dates are for that. I haven't set that up in here. The exams are there, but they're still the due dates from last semester. So I have to spend a fair amount of time on Brightspace each semester, kind of tweaking those things. And I haven't yet done that. Are there any questions about things that I've covered so far? The only thing I forgot that I can think of right now is, I talked about attendance being a thing. There is a grade penalty if you have excessive absences. The main objective for that is to try to discourage excessive absences because they almost universally fail. When you miss more than 10 or 15% of the class, total class time, you are really behind the curve. And at that point, it's probably too late to try to make it up. When you get to about 15% of the class periods being missed for the whole semester, you'll have a 1-letter grade penalty on your grade, 2-letter grades, and so on when you get 20-25% or whatever it increases. I'm talking about unexcused absences. So if you're traveling with your sports team or if you're legitimately sick or something like that, that doesn't count. But if you don't email me and I don't know, then it counts unexcused, and that tallies up. And I have kids in this class in particular at each semester, probably 3 or 4 kids that hit that number by midterms. By midterms, they've already failed the class because they missed so many days. So don't let that be you. It's, I don't want to say super easy, but it's not that hard to pass the class. You have to show up, do some homework, study for the tests, and you should be fine. So that being said, day 1, I never keep anybody the whole time on day 1. So you're free to go. And feel free to stop in if you want to ask any more questions or talk or you.
My house.